The flat earthers were right, and now we are almost wiped out. Original story by One More Nightmare. The idea that the world was a flat disk is a belief that dates back to ancient times. Many ancient cultures, including the Greeks and the Egyptians, believed that the world was flat. This belief persisted for centuries, with some scholars continuing to argue that the world was flat as late as the 19th century. However, the scientific consensus has long been that the world is a globe. The evidence for this, they told us, was overwhelming. From the fact that we could observe the stars and planets moving in a circular path in the night sky, to the fact that the Earth cast a round shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse. So why did the idea that the world was a flat disk resurface in modern times? The most popular theory is that it's the result of a conspiracy theory, that a group of powerful elites has been hiding the truth about the world shape from the general public. While this theory is often linked to other conspiracy theories, such as the idea that the moon landing was faked or that the Illuminati controlled the world, for me, this was the only theory I believed in. Everyone laughed at us and the idea that we conspiracy theories had put forward. The thing is, we were right. And now, we're almost extinct. I was part of a group of wealthy and well-connected flat earthers, and we put in motion a plan 12 years ago to prove we were right. We believed that the governments had banded together to keep this reality from us, the people, using fake agencies such as NASA to create false images and, in essence, keep control over the population. We infiltrated sections of the government, recruiting smart but influenceable college students that could eventually gain access to top secret files on the flat earth. And then we set in motion the largest multi-government hack known to man. We dumped terabytes worth of data onto every platform we could. Photos, files, videos, expeditions that all proved, for once and for all, that the earth was truly flat. For many in our circle, this was a welcome revelation. We saw it as proof of our long-held beliefs and felt vindicated. But for others, it was a nightmare. They realized that the flat world was surrounded by an endless void, a place of darkness and terror where nothing lived. Or so they thought. The revelation that the world was not a globe, but instead a flat disk floating in the endless void of space, had a profound impact on people's understanding of the world around them. At first, many people tried to ignore this truth, dismissing it as a mere rumour or hoax. They were comfortable with their existing worldview and did not want to disrupt their daily lives. However, as the evidence of the flat world spread and some governments began acknowledging it while trying to move into damage control, a lot of people began to feel increasingly uneasy. They were faced with the realization that everything they thought they knew about the world was wrong, and this caused a great deal of cognitive dissonance. People began to question their own senses, wondering if they had been deceived all along. Our small group of flat earthers exploded in members. Together with everyday people who felt betrayed, we overthrew those who were elected into power worldwide. We pushed the narrative that the governments had lied to us all along about this in an effort to control us. And if they lied about this, what else were they lying about? The thing is, the government didn't lie to control us. They lied to protect us. With the government's control and monitoring of the edge of the world now disbanded, we began to explore the edges of the flat world ourselves. As we ventured close to the edge of the flat world, we could peer over the edge and stare into the void, and would experience a profound sense of vertigo and disorientation. We could feel the vast expanse of space stretching out before us, and would shudder at the thought of falling into the abyss. Then the creatures started coming up. With no one protecting the edge, the creatures saw an opportunity to finally make their move. The creatures that inhabited the void were a force to be reckoned with. They were seemingly not of this world, nor were they creatures that could be classified in any known category. Approximately 8 feet tall and upright, the black, slimy creature was a sight to behold, and not in a good way. Their inky black body glistened with a slimy coating that seemed to reflect the very little light that managed to reach their surface. Their body was long and sinuous, with multiple tentacle-like appendages that writhed and twitched in a life of their own. Their eyes, if you could call them that, were mere slits in their head that glowed a sickly yellow-green, adding to their terrifying appearance. The creatures were covered in sharp, needle-like teeth that lined their gaping maw, and drool dripped from their mouth in thick, gooey ropes. You could hear them breathing, which was deep and laboured, as though struggling to contain their excitement at the prospect of a meal. Worst of all, the creatures' movements were eerily silent, making them even more menacing. It was as if they could move without creating any noise, making it impossible to track their movements. The darkness that surrounded them seemed to cling to them, as if it was a part of them. This made them almost impossible to see until they were right upon you, and by then it was too late. They began to emerge from the void, first in small numbers, and then in waves. Their hunger was insatiable, and they swept across the surface of the flat world, leaving nothing but devastation and destruction in their wake. We fled in terror, scrambling to find shelter and safety from the rampaging beasts. These creatures were unstoppable, possessing strength and ferocity beyond anything that had been seen before. The world was thrown into chaos as we struggled to survive amidst the carnage. As the creatures continued to rampage across the flat world, their influence began to be felt in other ways. The world was plunged into a darkness that was both physical and metaphysical. The creatures had brought a darkness with them that seemed to infect everything they touched. Plants withered, animals died, and the air grew thick and oppressive. The once thriving communities that had dotted the landscape of the flat world were reduced to rubble and ruin. The creatures had destroyed everything in their path, leaving nothing but death and destruction in their wake. We began to realize that this was not just an attack on our world, but an attack on our very existence. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the creatures have continued to ravage our flat world. People banded together, forming small groups and communities in an effort to survive, using shortwave radio to communicate with us and others. They shared what resources they had and worked together to defend themselves against the relentless onslaught of the creatures. Despite their best efforts, however, the creatures seemed to be gaining the upper hand. They were relentless in their pursuit of destruction and seemed to have an almost supernatural ability to adapt and overcome any obstacle. It seemed that there was no hope for the flat world, and the creatures from the void would reign supreme forever. I don't know how many people are left out there. The creatures have claimed the flat world for themselves, and it is now a place of darkness and terror. The truth about the world had brought nothing but destruction and death. I write this from a bunker in the Swedish Alps as a record of our mistakes, in the hope that one day humankind will retake this world. I can hear the creatures burrowing through the rock walls, and I know my time is almost up. It won't be long until they breach our bunker and devour us like everything else. Please, if you ever read this, don't make the same mistake we made. We thought we were liberating the people of Earth, but all we did was end life as we know it. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed that story, feel free to head over to my Reddit page. I've got a few others going up and a few other stories popping up on my YouTube as well. So if you are new here, like and subscribe, and stay tuned for one more nightmare.